Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Xandra, the host for the Twitter space and the community manager for CharmVerse. And for those of you not familiar, CharmVerse is a Web3 community platform for managing members, coordinating tasks, facilitating decisions, and holding each other accountable. Members sign in with crypto wallets and gain access via community tokens and NFTs. And CharmVerse brings together onboarding, payment management, proposals, project trackers, and data repositories all in one place. So I encourage you to check it out if you haven't already, after the space, of course, because today I am joined by Jimi Cohen of Four Trees Club, and I'm really excited to introduce you to him. If you're not familiar, he's doing amazing things for the planet in general, I guess is a good summary. So let's invite him up to the stage. Hey, Jimi, how are you?
Hello, hello. I'm great and grateful. How are you doing?
I am doing
Does that
very
do I
well.
okay? Do I sound really muffled right now, or is it coming through clear? Is this way better?
I think
Uh,
you sound good.
I'm currently in. I sound good even like this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I'm currently in a hospital in
Oh,
Bangalore.
oh
Uh,
no.
it's okay. Nothing too crazy. Just a little rabies. It's
Oh,
fine.
oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
potential rabies. I got bitten by a rodent. Gave a speech at a refi conference on the coast of India, and that happened on the last night. But I'm okay. I have the second jab today. Gonna be fine. And yeah, I'm in Bangalore, so can't complain.
Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate you still showing up for this. And
Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
oh my goodness. Well, I wish you all the healing vibes, and I'm glad that you're getting those jabs in as soon as you can. So, yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for being here. I was going to ask where you're calling from, but now we know. And yeah, you're actually coming through surprisingly well considering. So, oh, that threw me for a minute. um, so let's see. So you're often talking about like clean water, positive impact, social enterprise, and really just finding your passion. And anyone that follows you can tell you're just super passionate about what you're doing out there in the world. So we're definitely going to dive into this. But have you always been an environmentalist? How did you kind of get started, and when did this start happening for you?
Yeah, well, actually, the seed was planted, if you will, when I was super young. So literally not long after I could walk, I started planting trees because my mother. So okay, so although I don't really sound Australian, I grew up in a small town called Avalon in Sydney, Australia. I lived there till I was 11, and my mother was a kind of a koala activist of sorts. So basically, they were cutting down a lot of these gum trees, these eucalyptus gum trees, and because of that, there were no more koalas in this area where there used to be many koalas flourishing. And so to rebuild that habitat, we were both preventing them from cutting down the trees, trying to stop them from developing, etc., but also planting these gum trees. And so yeah, my mother was very passionate growing up, and so that definitely influenced my worldview. And yeah, but have I always been an environmentalist? I mean, I've always cared about the environment quite deeply. I haven't really been taking a huge amount of action towards fighting climate change until about a year and a little bit ago. So, you mentioned clean water. That's been a big part of my life too, helping solve the water crisis, bioscience, water filters. That's the reason why I originally came to Africa, to East Africa. We started out in Uganda. Then things got pretty crazy politically over there. So we went to Kenya, did a lot of water projects there as well. And I'm actually third generation Rotarian. I don't know if you know Rotary clubs. They're a 1.4 million person network of philanthropists around the world. And third generation Rotarian, hadn't really been involved in the Rotary clubs until I got to Kenya. So I got a little bit involved in those clubs, and I realized they had to do a ton of projects, from sanitary pads to water to planting mangrove trees. And as I started to, my mask going back on, there's people here. Okay, so as I started to, get involved in planting mangrove trees, I learned just how incredible this particular species of tree is. So mangroves remove 8 to 10 times the amount of carbon from the atmosphere compared with old terrestrial forests. And it was around about that time that I started planting mangrove trees and getting more involved in fighting climate change, that I also went down this Web3 rabbit hole of how NFTs can be used not just to raise funds for good causes, but also to develop communities and to connect one another around these kinds of causes. And I think that's a really crucial step because no individual or even organization can solve climate change, right? It's a massive problem. It really takes a movement of people and coordination. And I think that Web3 and these tools that we now have access to are one of the great ways to actually accomplish that. So that's why I'm so passionate and bullish on this wild world of refi, that is regenerative finance, trying to leverage this technology to regenerate nature.
I love all of that. It's amazing. And, talking about communities and not being able to do it by yourself because, we see you out there, but, listeners, if you go and check out For Trees Club and follow Jimmy, definitely press on that PFP, follow him. You'll see these communities and these people that he's working with and the efforts. And it's just fascinating and fun to watch. And we're also going to talk about how you can get involved as well. But bringing Web3 and talking sustainability and impact and all of that. Let's use Web3 for good. Let's all contribute and save the planet. So let's dig into that. Curious, is Four Trees Club an impact DAO?
Okay, so slight distinction here. There's actually two organizations. Four Trees Club is very much Web2 tree planting. We've launched a separate organization called the Tree Gens. So Tree Gens, I see FOMO head in the audience. He actually bought me the ENS domain Tree Gens, and on that day it became a thing. The Tree Gens. We've been talking about it a lot before this, but the reason we decided to make it two separate organizations. There was a nonprofit organization, a pretty well-established one that does a lot of tree planting, and they fund tree planting. They heard that we were doing Web3 stuff, and they were going to fund us to plant a lot of trees. And then they pulled out because they must have seen one article saying, "Oh, it's bad for the environment." And I always try to educate and inform people that Ethereum's gone from proof of work to proof of stake. It's actually reduced emissions by 99%, and it's amazing for transparency and all these other benefits. But sometimes that's a bit of an uphill battle, and we just decided to separate the two. And so TreeGens is the impact DAO that is being formed. So yeah, Four Trees Club, very much Web2, though they are using technology. Four Trees Club has an AI tree counter. So we're able to count every single tree that is planted with more than 7.5% accuracy, far more accurate than a human counting the trees. And they film the videos and do the tree planting. And then TreeGens is what's doing all the fun Web3 stuff that we can get into as well if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to talk about both of those. And thanks for breaking that down because I wasn't sure. And I knew Tree Gens was a thing I was going to ask you about and Four Trees Club. So that makes sense. And where Web3 comes into all of this. And I think that's a good point. I think people think Web3 and they think kind of back to when sustainability wasn't really being talked about. And maybe people weren't aware of the positive impact these communities are working towards. But listeners, if you're not familiar, Web3 has a lot of people that are working towards having a positive impact on the world or communities and really just doing good for the world. So if you're not familiar with some of these projects, look up impact DAOs. But Jimmy, will you maybe briefly break down what it means to be an impact DAO?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, right? So basically, instead of having a centralized organization where you have, a few board members in a boardroom making all these important decisions, you can actually involve people all across the globe, no matter where you are. Take part in some pretty key decisions that an organization can have. And you can do this through governance tokens. And those can be fungible governance tokens, or in the case of, social bees, that what I'm repping right now, that's an NFT that can be the governance of that DAO. And so TreeGens is both a company and a DAO. The way that we're structuring it is basically so 50% of the mint of the NFT that we're going to be launching is going directly towards tree planting, and the other 50% is going to a DAO treasury. So the cool thing about DAOs and their treasuries is that basically it can be allocated according to how the members want it to be allocated. So basically, when you get one of these NFTs, you get one vote. And basically, it's going to act like impact investments. So, whatever kind of regenerative or positively impactful projects that the community thinks is a worthy impact investment, we'll all be able to vote on that and support those community initiatives. Because I've been doing Max Impact Show, and it was great having CharmVerse on there too. And basically, most of the people that I interview, I've done 277 or 78 episodes now, and they're all leaders leveraging this technology for good. And there's so many good projects out there, so I really want to support those. So that was a crucial decision that we made. And so by having both a company and a DAO, the company, we can get an impact investment to work with something called carbon forwards. And this, I believe, is one of the great keys to exponentially reversing the effects of climate change. But the DAO is going to be basically allocating 50% of our mint revenue towards these projects, which will hopefully then both make an impact and also grow the treasury so that we can continuously doing these kind of impact investments through the DAO. So that's basically how it works. Is by having one, you have a token, you have a vote, and you're also making crucial decisions in how the DAO and the organization in Web3 worlds evolves.
Yeah, great breakdown. Yeah, it really enables you to work as a community, right? And not just have to take it all on yourself and feel like you're the only one. You're working with a community to solve various problems, often with a community that has like the same mission. You're all working towards the same mission. And like I said, it could be saving the planet to improving people's lives. So impact DAOs are a very big part of Web3 and definitely communities that CharmVerse loves to support and highlight, which is one of the reasons we're having Jimi on here today, because we definitely believe in what he is doing. So you
Yay.
are working, oh, yeah. So you're working with Four Trees Club, the Web2 entity, and Tree Gens on the Web3 side to reverse the negative effects of climate change. And you're doing this mostly by planting trees, right? But also creating green spaces and just raising awareness about preserving our planet, right?
Yeah, so let me just kind of break down how the Tree Gens is going to go about it. We do want to really push the boundaries and do something a little bit different and innovative. So our NFT is going to be the first dynamic semi-soulbound token. So I'll just break that down really quick. So dynamic meaning that the image can visually change and level up according to real world data. And we're actually integrating two different data sets: trees planted by the holder of the NFT or trees funded by the holder of the NFT. So because we have this AI tree counting technology, you could film any trees, whether it be in your backyard or in a big tree planting location. Send us the video, we will count the trees and then level up that NFT. And similarly, you can fund trees through. We're actually also tokenizing each tree, right? So each of these tree tokens is kind of like a stable coin pegged at 9.4 cents. That's how much it costs us to plant each of these trees. And then that enables the NFT to also level up. And as the NFT levels up, kind of going Super Saiyan mode, then it also unlocks utility, in the real world, such as free access to different refi events and different perks that can be unlocked. And then we also have, I mentioned these videos of the trees that have been planted and the AI tree counter. We actually deliver that to the holders in the form of a non-fungible update. So it's actually a video NFT with the trees and the AI tree counter overlaid, kind of like Terminator overlays on top of reality or AR. It's like basically that's what these videos look like. And you also have a person from the community thanking you and sharing the impact that you're actually making, because there's it goes beyond the environment. Also, a lot of people that we're hiring and giving these green jobs to were living below the global extreme poverty line. And so there's many different benefits to that as well. And lastly, this is kind of the part that can exponentially reverse the effects of climate change, is through something called carbon forwards. So you're probably familiar with carbon credits. This is basically where you can prove scientifically through third parties that 1 ton of carbon has actually been sequestered from the environment. Well, if you plant a mangrove tree, and again, I'm a bit of a mangrove maxi because they're so effective at fighting climate change, it actually will take 25 years to fully sequester, depending on the area. In this particular area in Kenya, 308 kilograms of carbon. Now, 25 years is a long time. We don't really have that kind of time in order to reinvest that carbon credit back into the trees. And that is what we plan to do. And there's also a bell curve. So the first 5 years, not as much carbon sequestration. So what we're planning to do, and we already have a lot of these initial conversations that have happened to make this a reality, is basically work with impact investors who will buy the future value of those carbon credits in the short term. So before they actually become carbon credits. And what that will do, although it's at a reduced rate, we can inject that funding back into the projects. An order of magnitude more trees can be planted, and we can exponentially reverse the effects of climate change. Now, we also take a percentage of that carbon forward revenue, and we are backing this token with the carbon forwards. It's called F carbon, FCBN. And so FCBN is then airdropped to the holders of these tree tokens of the Tree Gens NFT, such that we can reward them for planting trees. So this is our plan to basically transition the degens into tree gens, right? Because if you can make more from refi than you can with DeFi, then we can get everyone involved in refi and actually regenerating the world. And so that's our longer vision plan. That's a bit on the roadmap. Initially, we launched the NFT and the tokenized trees, but security's telling me I shouldn't be in this hallway right now. So I'm probably gonna have to. I'm popping my mask back on. But yeah, that's the overview of what we're building and hopefully launching later in April.
That's amazing. I love hearing, and let me know if you like need to dip out. I totally get it. But I
Oh
love
no,
that,
all
the
good, all good.
tokenizing of. Okay, so we can tokenize trees, and we can be doing this. I mean, there are ways, and we can talk about it, that you can do this through Four Trees Club by purchasing mangrove trees. But you're saying we can just do this in our own communities and take a photo or a video and submit it and have that be going to planting more trees and doing good for the world, which is amazing.
Yeah, 100%. We want everyone to plant trees, right? Um, so I personally broke the world record for most trees planted in a day. It was 23,060 according to Guinness. I did over 25,000. Not to toot my own horn, but I want everyone to plant trees because the next world record that we're trying to break has no limitation of people. So Ethiopia planted 355 million trees in a single day. Okay, and so that we're going for 360. Okay, we have an ambitious goal to try to do that by this Earth Day, and I think we're going to make huge strides to make that happen. But if not this Earth Day, then one of the environmental days, we're going to make this happen and break that next world record. And so yeah, we want tree gens all around the world to plant trees, and like everyone eats fruit. Right? You can save those seeds, you can put them in a dark, moist place, germinate them, put them in the ground, and then you have fruit trees growing. It's we want everyone to take action, and there are many different ways that you can make a positive impact, right? It's not just through money, it could also be through your own personal time going out there to plant trees. And we want to also connect people with all the various locations with different NGOs that have tree planting opportunities so that they can go out and do that. And so yeah, it's basically the way it's going to look like is we have these two kind of orbs, one in the mind and one in the heart. So as you commit your own time to plant trees and our AI counts those, then the heart orb will kind of expand and kind of like get brighter. And then as you fund trees through buying these tree tokens, then your mind orb will kind of get bigger as well. So that's how it's going to be visually represented. And then on our website, DApp, decentralized application, then we have this kind of leaderboard as well. So we're kind of gamifying these things too. And yeah, we want to make history as planting the most trees ever planted in a day. And the way that we're going to do it, I know it might sound ridiculous and crazy to do 360 million trees in a day, but it is actually possible because I mentioned Rotary before. There's 1.4 million Rotarians around the world, and there's over 200,000 Rotaractors. So Rotaract is basically like the more youthful version of Rotary, usually like university students, grad students. And basically, every Rotaract club has a Rotary Club sponsor that kind of funds their volunteer activities. And so, if you break it down, so there are 40 countries where mangrove trees grow, right? Within those 40 countries, there's typically more than 50 Rotaract clubs. So, if we get 50 either Rotaract clubs or other NGOs to participate and get about 50 people together for a tree planting event, and they each plant 3.6 thousand trees, you multiply that out. And by the way, 3.6 thousand trees only 4 or 5 hours work if it's mangroves because it's so efficient to plant. You multiply that out and we're at 360 million. So it is actually totally doable, and we're pushing to make it happen. And this is just one of the ways that we want to incentivize people to plant trees. The two biggest problems we want to solve is, the economy currently incentivizes a tree when it is dead and chopped down more than it incentivizes someone to protect and plant. And so if we can help realign incentives, then we're going to see a lot more regeneration in the world. And if we can also build more transparency, so if you fund a tree, then you actually get to see every single tree counted right before your eyes, then we're also going to see more funding flow towards that. And by the way, Four Trees Club, who's the tree planting partner for this, they also guarantee the trees. So if say 90% of the trees survive a year from now, they will plant that extra 10%. They will replant. We guarantee 100% of every tree funded actually ends up being in the ground and growing. So if we can just prove all these different things, give 100% certainty and transparency and realign incentives, then I think we're going to see a lot more regeneration in the world and actually stand a chance at reversing the effects of climate change.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like you've already proved how much is already possible, already gathered these communities, have these organizations behind you. And listeners, if you go to Four Trees Club, 4trees.club, they have a video on there where I learned a lot about mangrove trees, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. But it really is such an efficient planting process that you can see in that video how quickly you can plant a ton of trees, especially when you have a bunch of people working with you. And, these trees are absorbing carbon dioxide, they're creating oxygen. In certain areas, they're going to be breeding grounds for like prawns and lobsters, local, wildlife. One gentleman was talking about like harvesting honey from the mangroves. And not to mention, it's just helping the local economy as well, right? People are relying on these trees. They need these trees. And it's really disheartening to see that it's the truth. You just said, trees are valued more when they're dead and cut up rather than alive and contributing oxygen to us and what we need. So I definitely encourage you to go to fourtrees.club and watch that video because, like I said, it's, I don't know, an 8 or 10 minute video, but it's really informative and you can just see how efficient the planting is. And it was great. I loved it. So obviously, not everyone can be planting mangrove trees in their own communities because it's going to depend on what's local to your area. But like Jimmy said, you're eating fruit, go plant some fruit trees. Jimmy, how can people find, you mentioned the DAP, how can people find their kind of tree planting community near them? What is the name of this DAP and where should we be looking?
Well, thank you so much for the kind words around fourtrees.club. That is kind of the current location we have. It's live on the test net, but we have not launched it yet. Later in April, we are going to be launching, so stay tuned. You can, on my profile, I believe this is still there. You can subscribe to a little newsletter. So as soon as it goes out, oh, that's not there anymore. You could ring the bell on my profile, and as soon as it goes live, we'll let you know about where those locations are. It is part of our vision to unite all these different tree planting organizations. We've actually got a ton of different tree planting organizations rallied together for this Earth Day, and it was actually a really cool guy called Highly Artistic is his handle, but it's Crypto Whales. Actually, every single month, not just Earth Day on the April 22nd, but every single month of the 22nd of every month, he does a monthly Earth Day event, and there's currently like over 50 Web3 projects. I see Jerry in there. Jerry is one of the people participating in this. Sinu might also be as well. And basically, we encourage people to do environmental acts every single month, and whether that be picking up some garbage or recycling, basic things that you can do, document it, planting trees. Of course, on this Earth Day, we're encouraging everyone to plant as many trees as humanly possible. But yeah, having those opportunities for people easily mapped out so that people know where to go is definitely something we want to make available. And this is the person who actually had that idea. And now that we have all these NGOs, I see Rose in the audience as well. Rose is actually the Rotaractor who's now got multiple districts of Rotaract involved in this Earth Day initiative. And yeah, but if you're looking for a place to plant, you could also DM me and I'll try to connect you with some of the NGOs that are likely active in your area. Mangroves grow grow anywhere along the coast by the equator. So there's 40 countries where they grow. You could, if you're able to come to Kenya or Tanzania, we can connect you with people on the ground where we're actively planting. But yeah, stay tuned, friends. I think in April we'll have this DAP live, and we'll have many opportunities for people to make an impact. We really want to pioneer the most transparent and rewarding tree planting, bar none, so that people feel excited about regenerating the world.
Absolutely. I mean, we have one planet, right? Let's make it count. Let's do our part. Like I can't think of much more important than that. So, yes, kudos to you. I love that you're doing this. I love that we're sharing this with people. Earth Day is right around the corner, and I didn't even plan this Twitter space around that, but it works out well. And obviously, a lot of people know what you can be doing in your day to day life, but from composting to buying products that are made from sustainable materials, stop with those single use plastics as much as you can. Reduce your water usage, supporting companies that are environmentally friendly, right? Energy efficient appliances, walk places, ride your bike, stop driving that car down the road to the local store. So, and then of course, we all grew up with the reduce, reuse, recycle. There are things that you can be doing every day, even if you don't feel like you have the time to be out there with the community planting trees. Make these efforts in your day to day life, and it really does matter. So, yeah, that's
100%.
that's that's
Yeah,
uh that's all I'm going to say about that. I think we all know what we could be doing in our day to days.
definitely. Definitely. We vote with our dollars, right? Every single thing that you purchase in the economy is supporting that directly, and you're going to see more of that. And so I think that's one of the beautiful things about how we see this new like wave of social enterprise coming, right? Where like there are so many. It started kind of with Tom's shoes, you buy one, give one, and now there's 10 tree, you buy a t-shirt, it plants 10 trees. Like there's all of these like positive impacts that are connected in with goods that people they anyway need. Speaking of eco-friendly products, 4trees.club, the website 4trees.club, actually recently launched a bunch of eco-friendly products, and each of them funds 100 trees. And so that's another way that the people can make a positive impact.
Amazing. Yeah. And actually, I was looking at that the other day. Cool stuff on there. Like, I want to buy it all. So go check it out, do your part, get yourself something cool to wear. But also on 4trees.club, you can purchase mangrove trees that will then be planted and nurtured for you. Like I said earlier, I believe it's a minimum of 5 at a time that you need to buy, but the cost is low and you're saving the planet and someone else is doing the work. So, am I right? Is it 5?
Sorry, say that one more
To have
time. It
trees
cut
at a
out a little
time.
bit there.
People can buy the
5 trees.
trees. I think it's 5 at a time that they buy, right?
Minimum 5, yep. Yeah, or really any amount. We also have 4treesclub.eth if people want to contribute via an Ethereum based token, and really any amount there. So it's you can see on the website it's 9.4 cents for you get a before, during, after video, and there's a few other add-ons for different things that people might want media wise. But yeah, it's on the website. It's minimum 5 trees, I believe.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely go check it out. It has all the information there. And then you'd mentioned NFTs earlier, and I'd come across Forest Hero Club, where each minted NFT will finance 100 plantings.
Yeah, at least 100. I don't know exactly what their mint price is, but they recently actually decided to fund Four Trees Club with their mint, which is really awesome. There's a handful of Web3 NFTs that are actually funding Four Trees Club because we are Web3 native and we deliver non-fungible updates, right? So we'll actually send the videos of the trees with the AI tree counter to the holders who fund these NFTs. So yeah, Forest Hero Club, they're the other percentages, I think it's on their website, is also going towards transparency and building technology around regeneration. And so, yeah, they're really cool people. They actually started another company called TreeSlit. So TreeSlit is basically bracelets that fund trees, and they started within the ecom Web 2 world, and now they're moving to the Web 3 world. So So yeah, I'm working with them very closely, actually, generating some content for them, and yeah, other people. There's Forest, pardon me, Fighters Gang is another group that's giving 50% of their mint to funding Trees with Four Trees Club. Eco Sapiens is doing, they're retiring carbon credits, but they're like just as an addition, they funded over 2,000 trees with us. Very cool people. And then there's the Carbon Counting Club. They're also funding trees with Four Trees Club. So yeah, I didn't ask any of these people to do this, by the way. I just show up on Twitter Spaces and I share what we're doing, and a lot of people decide that they want to fund trees with us, which is really encouraging and heartwarming, and I'm super grateful for it.
Well, I've been following along what you've been doing, and I definitely want to be in the Tree Gen Club. I think it's amazing, and I'm sure I'm not the only one on this space. So, listeners, if you have any questions for Jimi while we have him, please raise your hand. I'm happy to bring you up on stage and let you ask some questions. So, just throwing that out there. Jimi, what would you say are some
Shimona.
of the what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered in your work for positive impact,
Mm.
other than
Ooh, the
rabies?
biggest challenges. The rabies. Huh. Um, well, you know, there are a significant number of challenges. I've been in developing countries for over 2.5 years now. Again, we started out in Uganda, and then we went to Kenya, and then Tanzania, and now I'm in India. But most of our projects are in East Africa, and corruption is a thing. It can be kind of frustrating sometimes. Like I could tell you some crazy stories. I don't know if we should get into some of the crazy situations we got into and how we got out of them. But sometimes people try to take advantage and like extort money, and there's some corruption things that can go down. We try to avoid corruption at all possibilities and costs, and like unfortunately that can mean that something can just take longer. If you want to go the non-corrupt route, it just takes longer to do things like whether that be dealing with government trying to get carbon rights, or cases getting things set up and registered. It's just like takes a long time because a lot of people in the queue. So yeah, I've we I don't know which stories I could share, but actually this wasn't so much a corruption thing. This was just like we found ourselves in a military barracks in Uganda uh, after after curfew without IDs, and we had AK-47s pointed at our heads, and people were screaming at us. This was one of the most intense situations I've been in. I think I could share this. Do we have time? How long is this Twitter space supposed to go for? Because this
Yeah,
is
I mean,
this
we've
is a
got time.
doozy. All right.
Come on,
Okay. All
everyone
right.
wants to hear
So
this.
this is one of
Everyone wants to
this
hear
is
this.
one of the craziest challenges. I think Sinu, who's in the audience, he was at the refi event that I was at. I think I left it on a cliffhanger with some of these people, and then one of the guys had to go. I'm like, all right, we'll continue later. Never finished the story, so maybe this is you hearing the end of this. Okay, so here's what happened. This is actually back when we were doing clean water projects. Okay, so we were in Uganda, and we started. So we're going from Kampala, which is the capital, to a city called Hoima. The reason we're going to Hoima is we actually got introduced to the prince and now mayor of Hoima, called Brian Kaboyo. A very nice guy. He was helping us a lot to set things up and get people water over there. Anyway, we had a late night, and we ended up getting a driver to help us to get there. So we kind of like fell asleep in the car. We found this driver day off. He was like a Uber driver or something. And he said, okay, yeah, I'll drive you. A bit of a long drive. Anyway, we fell asleep in the car. And then the guy wakes me up and he's like, wait, is it this way or that way? Uh, and I'm like, dude, you're the driver. I have no idea. Maybe use Google Maps. And I'm like, Google Maps, try the Google Maps, right? And this is back when curfew was a thing. You had to be indoors by 9 p.m. Okay. Anyway, we wake up. I wake up because we're on this dirt road with huge potholes, right? And my brother wakes up and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" It's like 8:45. Like, I'm taking over. What are you doing? How'd you end up here? Takes the driver's seat and he just floors it down this dirt road. And there's all these potholes, and he probably damaged the car. He's flooring it. Anyway, so he there's this tiny little like stand, and it's not really a gate, like it was open, but this is like the road where Google Maps is telling us to go through, right? So he floors it past this guy who was sitting down, and we didn't think much of it. It turns out we had just basically drove past a military checkpoint into a base. Okay, so and then the clock hits 9 o'clock. We stop the car and we're like, okay, damn, all right, it's 9. What do we do? Do we sleep here? There's actually a hotel like 10 minutes away. Maybe we go to this hotel. So we're like, all right, 10 minutes, let's just go. So we're going and we get to another military checkpoint. But this time there's like a dozen guys with AKs and there's spikes on the ground. We cannot drive. And they're like, get out of the car. No, no, no. Right. Okay. Now, the problem was I left my only identification at the time was a passport, which was where we were going. So and same with my brother. So none of us had IDs except our driver. Okay. And this other lady called Joyce, who was helping us with the clean water projects. Okay. Now I follow instructions. I get out of the car. They're like, get on your knees. I'm like, okay, I'm on my knees, right? Hands behind my head. And I see my brother. Okay. So my brother has a bit of a silver tongue. He's great at talking with people and getting out of these kind of situations, right? Now, he's talking with the people, and this lady, Joyce, is in a similar position on the knees, hands behind the head, and she's shaking, right? And I'm like, Joyce, don't worry about it. Like, Isaac's got this, we're going to be fine. And she just looks me dead in the eyes and she goes, Jimmy, this is Uganda. And I'm just like, oh crap. Okay. So at this point, I'm a little concerned, right? And but my brother, he's like making them laugh. He's like, man, if I smoke a cigarette, he smokes a cigarette. He's making jokes or whatever. And so they're like, okay, basically, the problem is, okay, you're in the military area, you're without IDs, and it's after curfew. So you're gonna have to come back to the barracks because our boss is not here. You can't speak to the head, military dude. And so they were like, all right. So we go back to the barracks, and they're like, all right, you're gonna have to sleep in the car. And me, I was fine with this. I was totally fine with it. I'm like, it's like a plane, you put the seat back, no worries. Wake up in the morning, happy days. But my brother, for some reason, he's like, come on, this is ridiculous. Like, there's a hotel 10 minutes away. Let us go there. He offered to we say we will buy some food or whatever, but let us go to the thing and da, da, da. And because he didn't want to stay there, we were friends with the people at that point, the military people, but at any point. The big boss could snap his fingers and who knows what could happen to us, right? So he called the big boss because he didn't want to sleep in the car. And he said, these guys, they are complaining. And I was like, no, 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 no. Like, wrong choice of words. Like, we're fine. It's cool. But anyway, because he said that, the head military boss guy drove down and he pulled up in this big car. Dude's got all the badges, right? This massive guy. He's like, right, you in here. So first he's speaking with the driver, right? So the driver is in there just getting screamed at, right? And we're just like twiddling our thumbs sitting outside of this room. And we're like, oh my God, like what is about to go down here? Like this could go south so quickly. But anyway, we get in there and so we start talking about, look, we're doing water projects, we're da da da, we're just trying to get to Hoima, blah, blah, blah. And then we mentioned that we're working with Brian Caboyo, and he's like, hang on a second, you guys know Brian Caboyo? And we're like, yeah, Brian Caboyo, we know, we're working with him over here. And then he said, we'll prove it. So I call him on WhatsApp, and thank God he picks up on WhatsApp. And I pass him the phone, and Isaac and I are just dead silent. I can kind of hear what he's saying, and he's like, these are good boys. What they're saying is very true. Da da da. So he basically vouches for us, and then the guy's like, all right, you guys can go. And we're like, to the hotel? He's like, no, you can go all the way to Kampala. They say anything, just mention my name. Happy days. You're all good. And that was basically how we got out of it. It's because we knew someone, but that was a very hairy situation. We were like definitely on the brink of things going south very fast. And
So sketchy.
Yeah, it was wild. It's been a journey. It's really been a journey this last while. We've been through some crazy times, but because we consistently show up with the right intentions, we made the right impressions with the right people, and this was able to get us out of some pretty crazy situations. So I'm not gonna say it's been easy to get here. It's definitely been wild. It's been a journey. I'm gonna write a book on this stuff at some point. But all these experiences, they kind of make you stronger. They make you more determined, and you learn kind of how to maybe not get into them and navigate if stuff comes up and hits the fan.
Oh my goodness. I would love to just sit and hear these stories like all day. I can't imagine the other stories you have in your back pocket. And but I think it's also like
Yep.
great to talk about because you can follow along on your journey and see all the beautiful places and the cool things you're doing. But then there's also the other like very real side that has the danger and the rabies and the travel
The
snafus
baby.
and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. Oh,
Yep, yeah, it's been wild, but at the same time, some really wonderful things have happened, and I've met some incredible people. I see Cynthia in the audience. She helps people get impact investments. I've just met so many amazing people throughout this journey as well, and if it was all just crazy intense times, I don't know if I would have duked it out for these years, but because there are some people with such big hearts who genuinely want to do good in the world and see these projects come to fruition, it just makes it all worthwhile, seeing the impact, connecting with the impact, seeing people also in places like Twitter Spaces and this refi community get behind it and support us through thick and thin, and just like sentimental. Oh, that was an announcement going on. Sorry about that. Yeah, I wasn't lying. I'm in the hospital. Uh, Still in the hospital. I got just charging. Sorry about that. I'll let you
that's
talk while we do
okay.
the announcement.
Well, I love hearing about the rewards, right? Because that was going to be my next question. Or like, here's some of the challenges, the crazy times, but like, what are some of the greatest rewards? And it sounds like the communities you get to work with, the people you meet, the impact you're making. So that's amazing, and you are risking your life to do it. So thank you for doing that for all of us. And you already mentioned Max Impact, but I want to make sure people know that you have a weekly Twitter space that you host. Sometimes they're back to back, and I believe they're on Thursdays, kind of like right before this, right? Like 12 or 1 Eastern.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually, the typical schedule is actually 6 days a week. I'm a bit of a crazy person with Twitter
what?
Spaces. Yeah, as I travel around, sometimes I can't always make it happen. If you think that's crazy, one time I did a Twitter Space for 60 hours straight.
Stop it.
I slept for 1 hour throughout the entire weekend. I had more than 60 guests come on because I did panels as well. Why? Okay, so why do I do these insane things? Well, if it were just for like interviewing, there's no way I'd be able to do it out. If this was just for a for-profit bank, zero chance I would be able to do these things, right? The reason I did it is because I'm very determined to scale and maximize positive impact, right? So when a fellow who's actually the number one YouTuber called Mr. Beast surpassed 20 million subscribers on YouTube, a lot of people took online to tweet and tag him on Reddit to say, "Hey, plant 20 million trees." And just because people did that, he actually did it and surpassed that goal of 20 million trees. And now his subscribers are well beyond 200 million across the different platform channels. And so we did this with a bunch of giveaways and a bunch of speakers, and the whole refi community kind of got involved in it to make memes. And if you check the hashtag one sub one tree Mr. Beast, you will see many memes and tags that went out. And I now have 3 points of contact with 1 degree of separation to Mr. Beast. And now that we're getting this, we actually are lucky in this official partnership with Earth Day, the official Earth Day of the United Nations, and with Rotaract, and with Rotary clubs and some of these big NGOs. Now we're going to be engaging the Mr. Beast team to try to, help, involve him to break this next world record, right? I said the next world record we want to beat is not of an individual. It's of any number of people decentralized around the world planting trees in 24 hours. How much is possible? Currently, the record is 355 million. I think we can beat it. And it's people like this who can, rally a movement of people, rally the globe to get behind this kind of stuff. And so that's why I did it. That's why I'm a crazy person with Twitter spaces and went for 60 hours straight. And that's what really drove me. It was connecting to a cause very deeply and closely, and then taking action on it, and I wouldn't have been able to do that alone. I did have some really great co-hosts. They were encouraging me to sleep, and fortunately I got that 1 hour in. I tell you, by the end of this, I was starting to hallucinate.
I bet.
You know how in Harry Potter, how you look at those pictures and they start to move and whatnot. That was people's profile pictures. People's PFPs were starting to move, and I was like, "Oh my god, you guys! I think I really need to get some rest." This is like hour 59, like when I was just like, "This is ridiculous." And then what was crazy is we had to give out 111 NFTs. This guy came up, Matthew MLB and WA, Matthew Bonser. He's like, "All right, I'm going to donate 111 NFTs for my private collection, some of which are valued at zero point 0.6 Ethereum, to help you make this happen and really fuel all these entries, right?" But we had to give them all out during the space. And so it was like this, we had to keep doing this random number generator and screenshots. And it was like this really long thing. I think it was more than 60 hours. It was like 60 point something at least, maybe even 61, because we had to give all these NFTs, and it was like this big task right at the end of it. But we got it done. We got it done. And I met some amazing people who I'm actually partnering with during that space. So, you keep showing up, you're putting out good vibes. Other people pick up what you're putting down, and that's where the magic happens. Web3 community, like people say WAGMI, we're all gonna make it. Well, I think the new WAGMI is we're all gonna make impact, We all can make impact, and we all can make even more impact when we hold hands, we band together, and we try to point this amazing technology in the right place, not just towards degeneration, but towards regeneration of nature and all good things in the world. So that's what I'm really bullish on and passionate about. And I'm really grateful to have met so many incredible people who are about it and are becoming about it. I think we're seeing a shift in Web3 towards this regeneration. And, it can be rewarding too for people, right? Like the economy is starting to value things like carbon and even biodiversity credits, and even things like water credits are starting to pop up, which is basically just scientifically proving this and putting an economic value on the good. And I think the more that we do that, the more that our economy is going to value it, and that's what people are going to end up doing. So yeah, I'm grateful to be at the cutting edge of this technology, and everyone in the space is, right. Everyone in the space has the potential to leverage this tech for good, and a lot of people are. Like I see Jerry in here is doing great things, building collages. You can make a positive impact, take photos, send it to him. He'll turn it into an NFT and help that raise funds for good causes and even support the people who do it. So there's so many amazing projects out there, right. I've done almost 280 episodes, and I'm just getting started. Like there are so many more. Like the Gitcoin round's about to start on the 25th of April, and the climate round has like more than 150 projects just in climate, just in Gitcoin. And for those of you who don't know, Gitcoin has quadratic funding, so you could give $1 in a stable coin, and that could get matched 10x or even more, depending on how many people do it. It's like, again, voting with your dollars, right? The more people that say, "Hey, this is a good thing," then they have this big matching pool that goes towards that. So I encourage everyone to check out these Gitcoin initiatives, and how you can make a huge impact even with $1, just by participating and learning about it. And I think there's so much more to learn, so much more to do. So that's what gets me out of bed in the morning, keeps me excited every single day.
I love it, and thank you. I think that's actually a fantastic way to wrap the space, with the passion in your voice, talking about what you're most excited about, what we can all do collaboratively. I have no doubt that if you and Mr. Beast come together, that you can absolutely hit that world record goal. And I'm behind you, and I'm sure all of our listeners are behind you. And you are absolutely inspiring, Jimmy. I'm so grateful to have been able to speak to you, even if you're in the hospital being treated for rabies.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. They can't stop us no matter what. I remember when I was when I was planting that record, they actually got swarmed by mosquitoes, and I think it was just because I was like sweating all day that at nighttime I started to like shiver, and that's actually like one of the symptoms of malaria. So the team was like, "You're probably getting malaria right now, Jimmy. You should probably get checked out." And I'm like, "I'm beating this record. It's happening." And and fortunately, it was not malaria. It was just the sweaty clothes in the night. But but yeah, I think Tab tried to come up, but it's probably the Spaces rug happening with iOS. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much, Charmverse. This is a real pleasure. I think you have a wonderful platform, and I'm super grateful for this opportunity. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's definitely stay in touch and keep making impact
Absolutely.
through technology.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited to continue to follow your journey. Listeners, be sure to follow Jimmy. Click on that PFP. Also, if you are part of an impact community or looking to found an impact community, CharmVerse loves empowering impact communities by giving them a platform to carry out their everyday operations, and will always be free for impact projects to encourage them to continue doing something good for the world. So, shameless plug there, but it definitely fits into what we're talking about. And yeah, definitely follow Jimmy. You can also follow Tree Gens on Twitter at the Tree Gens. Go follow at Four Trees Club or visit the website, which is fourtrees.club. Stay tuned for that decentralized application that's going to be coming out, and go check out your local Rotary Club. You can do this stuff right within your community and contribute. And definitely stay tuned to Jimmy and all he's going to be doing for Earth Day and how he's going to crush this world record coming up and planting trees. And yeah, Jimmy, let's definitely stay in touch. I would love to do some more work with you, and I am definitely a tree gen.
Yes, I love it. Tregen Charmverse. And thank you for suggesting the follows. If you needed an extra incentive, I'm actually personally planting another tree. I've already done this when I went to beat the row record last, but I'm personally planting a tree per profile. So on Jimmy Cohen, on the Tree Gens, or Four Trees Club, both of which are tagged in my bio, I will be planting a tree personally on April 22 in your honor. So easiest way to plant 3 trees, boom, follow all 3. It's done by April 22, and you're gonna see me document the journey and hopefully beat the world record with Guinness this time. Last time we did it with the AI tree counter, but we got a company to pay for Guinness. It's not cheap, but they're covering it, and so we're making it a fish, the Guinness World Record. So thank you so much again, Charmverse. You're an amazing human being and platform, and super stoked. Let's definitely stay in touch.
I love it. I love it. Well, everyone, I will have 3 trees officially planted for me. So go do the same, give a follow. Jimmy, sending you all the healing vibes. I hope you're out of that hospital and rabies free, and feeling, well in no time.
Sure, I will. Yes.
Nothing
We're
will
good.
stop you,
The
it
health
seems.
Yes, zero zero chance of stopping. Rabies cannot do it. Malaria cannot do it. The healthcare system's actually quite good in India. I was pleasantly surprised. It's really nice. And yeah, anyone who comes to India, go to Bangalore and connect with all the regions out here. There's a very strong refi community. A lot of people are building in the space, from Solid World DAO to Atlantis. You guys should check out Atlantis DAO 01, I believe their handle is. They're doing really good space. We're partnering with them as well. So happy days. Much love. I feel like we keep trying to end the space, but we keep saying wonderful, good things about each other. It's like, and yes, and more love and good things. And yeah, it's great. But yeah.
All right, we're officially ending it. Jimmy, thank you.
All
You're an
right, we're calling it.
inspiration.
You're welcome.
Everyone,
My pleasure.
thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time. Go follow everyone, spread the love, plant some trees. Let's do this. All right, have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Let's grow. Bye bye.